Even though I've been reviewing cameras for over 6 years now, Leica camera systems are the one that I've spent the least amount of time with, yet I've heard the absolute most praise for. So I made an M11 my daily driver for 2 weeks. 2 weeks that I was going to be heavily on the road for. First I was in Aruba, San Francisco, one night in New York, and now I am grateful to be back home in the woods. And I'm spending all this time with this camera because I'm trying to figure out if the Leica experience is worth the Leica cost. Now, I purposely didn't ask for a loaner from Leica for this system. I rented it with my own money from a website that anyone can rent a camera from, because if you were to buy this camera, it's very expensive and its cost will likely weigh heavily on your purchasing decision. And I wanted to feel that too, and I'm feeling it.
What the heck?
I'm Becca, I take tech outside. Let's get into it. This is the Leica M11. Out of all the current Leica cameras, it is the most traditionally Leica of them all. And that's because its design remains largely unchanged since the very first M-series camera, the M3, was announced in 1954. You see, the M-series has always used the M mount for lenses, always had physical dials on the top, and most importantly, aside from the M1, which was designed for use with microscopes, has always utilized a rangefinder for focusing. Rangefinders work by aligning the angle between two different viewpoints, much like your eyeballs. So the M11 has two eyeballs, one right there and one right there, that overlay two images in the viewfinder. I rigged up my iPhone on a magic arm so you can hopefully see how this looks through the viewfinder. When you move the focus ring, those two images, one from the left, one from the right, move in and out of alignment. And when they're aligned, your image should be in focus. Pretty cool, right? But a true rangefinder also means that you aren't seeing exactly what the lens is seeing. So if you're using one of these cameras for the first time, you're gonna make some rookie mistakes like me, including shooting with the lens cap on or taking photos with the camera strap in the shot. It also means that if light is hitting one of these viewfinders but not the other, focusing will be really tough. Not to mention, you'll have to remember to keep both viewfinders clean. And let me tell you, they are prone to getting gunked up. Once you get the hang of this though, shooting with the M11 feels pretty damn timeless. From all the controls being on perfectly clicky knobs, to not having to look at a glowing screen, and most importantly, hearing that shutter. And then, of course, there are the images. Incredibly sharp, so long as you can nail your focus. Punchy without being obnoxious, with just the right amount of contrast. But the more I shot with this system, the more I wished it was something slightly different. More on that in a moment. First, a quick message from this video's sponsor. If you've watched any of my content, then you know how important sound effects and music are to it. And thanks to this video's sponsor, Epidemic Sound, I'm going to show you how I source and find all of my sounds. This is a dream sponsor. I legitimately use Epidemic Sound every day. One of my favorite features of Epidemic is actually finding songs on Spotify that I really like this Crinbin song that I love, copying the link, bringing it into Epidemic, pasting it, and then the software will find songs that are similar to it. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Ooh. On my channel, I'm typically looking for music that has a sort of soft beat that keeps things moving but isn't distracting. But Epidemic isn't just known for their music. They have upwards of 200,000 sound effects for use, of which I've used my fair share of swooshes. And for this video, I've actually been using a lot of ambient sounds, such as waves, NYC subway, and even airports. So if you're looking for music or sound effects, I really can't recommend Epidemic enough. I freaking love this service. You can use the link down my bio for a free trial, and I'll also link my 2024 master playlist, which is all the songs I used most last year. Thank you again, Epidemic, for sponsoring this video. Now back to the show. On only day 3 of using this camera, I was really starting to get the hang of the system, even almost being able to catch focus on flying birds. Although cats are still tough for me. My only regret at this point was the lens I chose. So when I rented the M11, I went with a 28mm f2 Summicron M Mark II lens, and I did this because my favorite travel companion of all time is my Nikkormat FT. It has a 24mm lens on it that might as well be glued to this camera. And so I thought, okay, I'm traveling, I'll want something wide like I do with this camera. Wrong. This squeaky old lens isn't very sharp, whereas this 28mm Leica lens is very sharp. And I found that I wanted to shoot details with the M11. I wanted to show off its sharpness, but At a minimal focus distance of 2.5 feet, you can't really get close to things. I mean, it's even hard to take a selfie. And so I felt kind of trapped in this sort of wider field of view that I didn't really necessarily want with this camera. So please let me know down below if I use this camera again, what Leica lens should I be using with it?
What the heck?
What wasn't my fault though was this. That's a nearly $9,000 camera freezing, which resulted in photos not being saved and me needing to hard reset the camera by pulling the battery out. This would happen to me 2 more times, at which point I did a quick Google search and it looks like I wasn't the only person this has happened to. Some users have found solutions by using different memory cards, setting the auto shutoff to be longer, disabling auto lens recognition, or updating the firmware. Which is what I ended up doing, and since then I haven't had an issue. But for $9,000, I can't shake the feeling that this camera should be flawless. Which leads me to the next problem that I faced. During my time with this M11, all I could think about was its price. I'm not the type of person who treats cameras like museum pieces. This is me and my partner walking on a frozen lake with not only the M11, but also a Nikon Z6 Mark III and an Osmo Pocket 3 in my bag. And I didn't even think about taking the M11 off my neck as I hoisted her up a tree here.
All right, now hold it. Okay. Yeah, I just have to get focused. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Don't move.
This is me tossing the M11 in and out of my car. This is me taking photos on the back of a boat. You know, just storing it in a cup holder here.
A perfect holder.
I just don't believe that you should have to tread lightly with your gear. Cameras are tools. And although the M11 held up just fine, the thought that replacing it would cost that much money had me constantly thinking about its price. And I just couldn't help but feel that if sharpness and great colors are what you're after, you can adapt Leica lenses and put them on cheaper systems and work your colors in post. But more so than that, with all of these great manual controls, I found myself just missing film, which I could shoot with a Leica camera and this same lens for a lot less money. And although I know that Leica needs to be somewhat digital in order for it to be successful, and there are loads of professional photographers that need the digital pipeline, my hot take about the M-series is that this camera should always have a film advance lever, aka should always be film. It's so suited for it. And Leica makes other digital cameras, go buy one of those. Let's keep this film. If it isn't obvious, my desire for an M6 has like shot through the roof since making this video. If I ever get rich, I'm not telling anyone, but there will be signs. Return time. So clearly the Leica M11 is not made for someone like me, who has trouble justifying the cost of even the beefiest Sony, Canon, and Nikon cameras. So to answer my question at the top, oh shoot, where's this lens cap? Shucks. Is that gonna cost me like $500? Anyway, the experience is not really worth the cost for me because I think I would have a maybe even better experience just shooting the film version of this camera. But if you're somebody who enjoys owning museum pieces, handcrafted items, the best rangefinder on a digital camera, then the M11 is perfect for you. Just promise me one thing. You'll actually use it and not just wear it as a necklace. I'm Becca, I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Wow, where is that lens cap though?